to child protection community. What is child protection community? Well, it's a community of people that are just basically sick and tired of the inept laws that are currently in effect. Laws that confuse teenagers with real predators. There's no flagging system involved there, so you don't have a way to know is this a case of a 16-year-old with a 13-year-old or 14-year-old. I've got 3 daughters. I don't condone that, but the point being, there's a difference between a 40-year-old and a 3-year-old and a 16 or 15-year-old or 14, 13, what have you. What the goal is here is to raise a grassroots awareness. A couple of issues that I'm really going to be pushing for are GPS monitoring, that's 24/7 monitoring, flagging system for the current national registry. What that'll do is allow us to tell when those cases are if they're actual predators, pedophile predators, if they're just rapists. Not that there's a difference, don't get me wrong, but there is. There's a difference in threat level. Kids are outside playing. You tend to be washing dishes or run inside to get something. As guys pull up, children are a lot easier to kidnap than a grown adult. Then you've got the issues of other laws. Mark Foley is a good topic at hand. How come he's not in prison right now? Where's his prison time? He passed so much and fought so hard for legislation to protect our kids, and yet he's turned around and he's hitting on interns using the internet, which is a federal offense. And where was to catch a predator for that one? Why weren't they involved? For those of you that are new to the site, I'd like to welcome you in. Please log in, send me a friend request. I'll be glad to accept it. For those of you that have been here before, I appreciate you catching the view again. This started out as a rock bottom truth. I do that on YouTube. You can look that up. It's rock bottom truth. I've got some videos over there. The two sites, they correlate together. A lot of the same issues and a lot of the same videos. It's just this one is specifically for this purpose. Child protection community is, again, just a group of people that are tired of the way things are and want to change. One person writing to a congressman is not going to make it happen. It's going to take a bunch of us. There are too many laws out there that are ineffective, outdated. There's new technology available, such as the GPS system, 24/7 monitoring. Let me explain a little bit about that and why I think that's so important. A couple of things that'll do is when a child comes up missing, some of the first suspects they look for is if they can't find the child, of course, and they know it's not a family member or a relative or a bad divorce case, they go to look for people in the area that have been convicted of sex crimes against children. What this GPS does, it allows a monitoring of these guys, basically to prove where they were at and where they weren't. If you've got a guy that's going to work and he happens to be driving by a school every day and they're checking up on him, they can backtrack his GPS tracking, find out how close to that school, how many times a week is he going when they're getting out, is he driving by there in the middle of the day, should he even be driving by there. It'll do a couple of things for us as a community. One is it'll make us feel a lot safer because the police, one person can monitor more people over the internet from an office at a downtown central location such as the police department. We can be aware of where these guys are at, what their patterns are. The ones that are a threat or deemed a threat can be approached and reminded that they are being watched. Myself, I feel like that's a lot cheaper than incarcerating these guys for another 15 years. What's the taxpayer cost on that? What's the cost to the family that the child, if a child comes up missing and is abducted or murdered? If it saves one child, it's worth it. And I don't know what the exact numbers are of it, but I can just about believe it would be a lot cheaper than putting these guys back in prison, providing them with medical, putting a roof over their head, and feeding them for murdering one of our kids. Our current laws are inept. I don't think the National Sex Offender Registry is classified the way it should either. I think there should be a flagging system, just like we have a national threat level. I think we should have a sex offender level. What I mean by that is simply this. I believe that if it was a 17-year-old boy or girl and a 15-year-old, vice versa, they get caught, one of the parents gets mad, presses charges, that boy's tagged for the rest of his life as a sex offender, and he's classified with the guys out there that are doing the raping and the murdering of our young. I'm talking about the 40, 50-year-old guys that are sick in the head, decide to go kidnap a kid, don't want to leave a witness behind, and they abduct that child, kill it to get rid of the witness, and then act like nothing ever happened. This is a sick world, and we need to address those problems specifically, not group them into one, because there is a difference. There's been a lot of cases cases where children, and I mean children as young as 8 years old, are labeled sex offenders, and that's wrong. Those children, you can retrain them. They're probably repeating a behavior that they've seen on TV, and you know how the TVs are nowadays, especially with cable and satellite. There's no telling what these kids picked up. They may be imitating something they've seen either on TV or in the home. One of their relatives, maybe a parent. That's not the same thing as a convicted predator. And there needs to be a flagging system on this registry. The registry is great. I don't condone vigilantism. I want to say that first and foremost. If you're considering approaching someone, it's known as harassment and it's illegal. I understand and I feel the same way as a lot of you do. They don't have rights as far as I'm concerned, and they need to stay away from our kids. But the bottom line is, don't get yourself in trouble. Contact the local authorities. They'll handle it. They have people in place. If you can't get any resolve from the local authorities, contact me. I'll put you in the right direction, or contact, or I'll stay in there with you till we get this resolved. Recently, in a town called Odenville, Alabama, we had a librarian went in there with some profiles for the Odenville zip code, which is what I do. I approach daycares, libraries, anywhere children are, and I show pictures of convicted sex offenders that are living in that zip code. She was thumbing through my profile book, and she began to notice. She said, wait a minute, this guy's been in here a lot. We've noticed him in here, and he's been on the computer on some sites that he wasn't supposed to be on. You're not supposed to do that at the library. If you're going to check out pornography, you need to do it in the privacy of your own home. If you're a convicted sex offender, you're not supposed to have a computer at home or be online in some states. This guy's been in there. Those kids, they come in, they do reading time. Excuse me, needless to say, that librarian was able to point out that sex offender, identify the problem. She couldn't get any resolve from the local police department, but through the steps that I had taken, which is not a harassment, it is strictly just basically protecting my neighborhood. I've got $3, and you can pull that up. That registry is www.nsopr.gov. It's free to look. Just type in your zip code, find out who's in your area. Excuse me. There are tons of them out there. Just in Jefferson County, I've got 850. They're not all pedophiles. Some of them are rapists, but the majority of them are convicted pedophiles. There's certain cases where the law is being used in divorce cases where a wife gets upset, she gets mad, wants to take custody of the kids, or is in fear she's going to lose custody. She'll accuse the father or grandfather or uncle or somebody of something they didn't do. If those people did it, they should do time. But I want to say something out there to anyone that's listening that is in law enforcement or that has the ability to change these laws. If these people get caught making false accusations, I think whatever prison time that would have been given that person falsely accused should be put on that person that accused them, unless they didn't know. If it's proven it was malice and it was over a custody battle and it was to lose custody of the kids, that person should do the time for the crime they accused that person of. Teenagers out there, kids are kids, let's be real. I don't condone premarital sex. I don't say that it's okay. I don't condone teen pregnancy, and I understand all that. But two teenagers in the back seat of a car, and the parents get mad. You know what? It's just as much one's fault as it is the other. It's not one more than it is the other. And parents, actually, it's home training issue. That and the fact that they've seen what they've seen. You can't control what your kids do. I understand. But they watch a lot more what we do than listen to what we say. And any of you that's got kids that are older, you know that. Your kids are not out there listening to what you're telling them to do 24/7. They're watching what you've done and they're mimicking it. They're mimicking what they see on TV. Parental controls are a great thing. We need to get these problems under control. Again, the GPS tracking is designed specifically for that purpose. There's so much technology out there, and so inexpensive. And we do it with the house arrest. The guys can't leave the house. It'll set off a buzzer. The probation people show up. They rearrest them for leaving. You know what? We could put tickers in each of the schools and daycares. It could be a free program. I'm a taxpayer. I'll pay for that. Hey, sign that into bill. Put the beepers into each one of the school districts, and if those guys get too close, their ankle picks up that signal from the school, boom, it lets the probation officer know, hey, he was within 2 miles of a school. He was within 2 miles of a daycare. These guys are convicted as a sex offender, and I mean a child predator, not just a teenager. I want to emphasize that. There is a difference, but an actual child predator. Those guys need to be monitored 24/7. They have a high repeat rate. When you add the numbers up, and you mix